All right, Scavengers, welcome to a special Saturday live edition of the Six Scale Scavengers podcast. We are here celebrating 2 years of hot toy scavenging, 2 years of podcasting. Well, Chris, not quite 2 years, but close enough.
Yes.
Episode 50, and we've got the whole gang here. We have myself, we have TC, Chris, and special guest Roy, and we are broadcasting at 3 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Roy, what time is it in the Netherlands?
5/9. 9:05. 9:05. That's
9:05. That's not bad. Yeah. So
no, it's doable for me.
Yeah,
it's our normal time.
Yeah. Oh, that's weird.
It is weird. It is fun though. Man, just really glad to get going here, guys. And before we get started, I think our longtime listeners will get a kick out of this. So, Chris, you and I usually record, as we just said, at 9 o'clock during normal weeknights. And I always feel like at the last second, I'm either grabbing photos or fine-tuning the agenda, or you or I have audio issues. And here I am on a Saturday afternoon, and my father-in-law asked me about like 1:30 or so, hey, can you help me hang some LED lights on my new shop? I'm looking at my clock, my watch. I'm like, oh, I can maybe for a little bit, but I still have a lot of photos to grab for this show. So yeah, I got to give a shout out to our fellow scavenger, Michael. He gave me an idea a while ago about using a Chrome extension to download the photo albums from the Hot Toys Facebook page. And thank you, Michael. That saved me about 45 minutes today. So that's why we're not 45 minutes late recording, guys. So 2 years, Chris. So on a technicality, I think we didn't quite, it was July 2018. But I found the loophole here, Chris. You and I did a live broadcast from the solo premiere back in May 2018. And that was the first time that you and I had mentioned Six Scale Scavengers. So that's what I'm going with.
Hey, works for me. It was definitely in the planning early 2018. And like we've talked about, didn't come to full fruition until the end of July. But yeah, this is awesome. I mean, almost 2 years, and 50 episodes. It's kind of crazy. I still, 50 episodes for some podcasts isn't that much, but for us, it's pretty significant milestone, in my opinion. And to have TC, having had TC on board for a year, and to be able to coordinate with Roy and everything, to have us all here. And then also, we'll mention it throughout the episode. The chat is just blowing up already. There's so many listeners and followers and members already chiming in. They get their own conversation going on.
Yeah, I was listening to episode 1 this morning, getting my nostalgia feels in, and let me tell you, man, it's like a fine wine. The older episode they age gracefully. So you guys did a really good job. It was funny though, because I know Chris was he's been a Marvel collector for Hot Toys for so long, and then he just recently went to Star Wars. But on that first episode, you guys were talking about Jedi Luke and the release of Jedi Luke. Bryan had it in hand. Chris was reviewing the Mark V, and he goes, you know what, man? Maybe one day the Endor Luke will be his gateway drug into Star Wars. So here we are.
Yeah, it was one of the drugs that got me into Star Wars for sure. Great figure. But yeah, we've definitely come a long way. We've transitioned in and out of segments. Bryan used to do a ton of editing because of all my uhs and ums and all that sort of thing.
I live with him now, Chris.
It's just part of the charm, So it's just been, since we've gone live and done all these different things. I mean, I think, like TC said, we've progressed to a good point, and there's only plenty of room for more growth and fine tuning going forward.
Yeah, so Roy, I'm super glad to be able to chat, and we certainly picked a great episode because there's so many figures to talk about. The Endgame figures are just going crazy, so much so that we're scrapping the normal Spark segment. I don't know if it's gone for good, but just in the interest of time with the news and stuff that we want to cover. But Roy, the one thing that we wanted to do with this episode was just to celebrate the community, because that community is the reason why you and TC are here. There's been the reasons why we had Matt and Steve as well, that they had developed their own show with Scavengers Assemble and Rogue 1-6, and they're out still doing really good things. But the community is here, and that's been one of the coolest things. That's one of the most humbling things. So Roy, one of the things that we did, and we'll cover it later in our topic, is just to go through and just see what this community means to people, because I'm not gonna lie, coming up on a milestone of 50 episodes, and like Chris said, if you release a couple shows per week, 50 doesn't really mean much. But when it means it's 2 years of consistently putting out at least 2 shows per month and trying to be as consistent as possible, and I just, sometimes it's like, is it really worth to keep going? But Roy, after I heard from all the Scavengers, it was like, how can I not? I mean, I literally teared up reading some of the things that some of the people wrote, that what this community means to them. And like, if that doesn't recharge your batteries, Roy, I don't know what would.
I can only imagine. You guys did such a great job for 2 years now. A constant, what you said, a constant feed of podcasts and news, and the group has grown immensely since I joined and since you started, of course. And it's such a great bunch of people, and it feels like home now. It's my only thing. I watch it on Facebook, so I never use Facebook for other stuff anymore. Only the group, and that's my constant feed of news and just interacting with fellow scavengers and collectors. It's such a great thing to be part of.
Yeah, it's always great to wake up in the morning and see all the posts and what everybody's found and what's been released and what people have gotten and that sort of thing. And it's such a great part of this whole community is our, little niche scavenger community. And I'm glad that people have been able to find us and be a part of the conversation. And I'm glad that, like we'll talk about here soon, what the group means to everyone.
Yeah, for sure. A couple highlights, and I'll later on we're gonna keep it anonymous of kind of who said what, but I think once we kind of go through, I think everybody will be able to hopefully know which comments and stuff were theirs. But you've got people like Hidalgo, who is Johnny on the spot when it comes to posting new stuff, or when it comes to the low stock warnings on Sideshow, or those random restocks and stuff like that. Or I remember Jason had shared something about, like, every time he sees somebody sharing something about a new hot toy, he gets excited. It's like that, you're a kid on Saturday morning, you see like G.I. Joe commercials that come on, or He-Man, or all this other stuff. And like, this is like for us adults and those that grew up in that time frame, it's nice to still be a kid and really enjoying this stuff.
Yeah, it's just cool to see everybody not necessarily play their part, but, have their spot in the community. So, and like you said, Hidalgo and everybody else that plays a part, and it's just been great.
I mean, other things that have spun out, I mean, there's a lot of other great content being there. I wanted to give a shout out to our fellow scavenger, Scott, who reminded me that he's been around since episode 2. You might remember that he recently launched his own YouTube channel, The Parker Files. When he started out, he caught my interest immediately when he did a review of the Magic cases, but his reviews of Marvel MCU figures, he's got 3 of them out now. I think Ant-Man, Rocket, and Captain Marvel. Thanks, Chris. And just the it's if there was like a scavenger style to doing a review, like that was Scott. So it's whether we had any kind of an influence on all or not, but I wanted to share that if some of the people in our Facebook community know this, but we're starting to add embedded YouTube links to his reviews on our website now. So if you go to our Ant-Man page, you're going to see the Parker Files review, Captain Marvel, Rocket, etc. So really looking forward to that. And it's just, it's really cool to be able to share the spotlight with others. And Scott's doing a really good job with his channel. So if you're not subscribing to his channel yet, make sure you go give it a subscribe. All right, Chris, before we get into news, we can't have an episode 50 and celebrating 2 years of stuff without giving some stuff away. So we're not known to be super technical or being able to walk and chew gum at the same time. So what we're going to do, and not going to do any of this live, between people that have either commented on our the post that you made in our group, or some of the regulars that we're seeing live. I mean, gosh, like you said, there's tons of people tuning in live. I see Ali out there, Nathan, Ryan, Austin, Hidalgo. I see Cletus, the Hebrew Hammer's out there. Obviously, if you're not subscribing to his channel, what the heck are you doing? But, there's a lot of others out there. So what we're going to do is we're going to do some random drawings. I was able to scavenge up a couple things that I'm going to give away. Chris, you as well. We've got a bunch of stickers to give away, but then even better, some scavengers reached out to us and said, "Hey guys, we've got some things that we'd like to donate as well." So we just want to be able to get back, and there's not really any technical way we're going to be able to do it other than just pulling together everybody that we see here. We'll go back through the stream afterwards and see the names and stuff to make sure we're not missing anybody. And then we'll reach out to those individuals. So some pretty cool stuff. I know Elvis was looking for me to give away a Shore Trooper. Elvis, I'm not going to give away a Shore Trooper, but I will give away a Shore Trooper Disney pin. That's about as good as I can do, my friends. So perfect. Yeah, I've got my Shore Trooper collection behind me now. I just redisplayed all that. So
good stuff. Yeah, I got some stuff. I did post a picture just before we went live on our Facebook group of some of the items that I'll be giving away, that will be given away. I do have the Toys Era Talos head sculpt kit with the hands and stuff. So that's one thing. I've got I've got a Peggy Carter head sculpt that was painted and gifted by one of our great members. And I also have some
swag.
Six
scale t-shirts. Those are awesome.
Someday I'll put them all together and after we give these away, then I'll have some more available if any scavengers want to pick those up. But I'll make a post maybe this week. Yeah, and then I got an Ahsoka print, all kinds of stuff. So, guys, definitely, if Nathan's asking if I'm giving away any Harley Quinn stuff, no, I'm not.
It's all for Chris.
That's right.
There's no sharing involved with that.
No, but yeah, just feel free. Make sure you comment in the live feed, and then also check out the pin post. I think it's still pinned in the 6 scale Scavengers collectors group for the community, what it means to you. So yeah, looking forward to that.
So guys, about 13 minutes in and we haven't even covered news or anything, but we'll start to do that. Just the rest of the show, like I said, we're going to be going and sharing about our community here and just thanking everybody. I think we'll do a little bit of if anybody's new and haven't been here since the beginning, well, Chris and I will kind of go through what we can remember from when we first launched this little endeavor. And TC does have the Hulkbuster in hand that we figured we got to have a epic figure for the 50th episode review. So we'll be talking about that. And unfortunately, Roy, yours is still not there yet, but
still waiting.
Live vicariously through TC here and get going. So let's go news, because we're going to skip the Spark this week. So see if I can get this to work properly, and I can. So TC, I'll have you go over the stats here, but we got Ant-Man. I thought we'd also get Wasp right afterwards. This was released on June 16th, but man, this stinking head sculpt, TC. What do we got for the stats on this thing?
Yeah, it was released in the last couple weeks in Hong Kong. I think Sideshow shipping out soon. But yeah, just with this one, it's interesting. It's not a bad figure, obviously. It's just I almost wish Hot Toys would not gray out their head sculpt. Don't advertise it at all. So until you're ready to advertise a likeness for someone to pre-order, I think that they should just stop doing that practice, because this was a disappointment. It's not that bad of a sculpt from the nose up, but the teeth were just not a great effort by Hot Toys. So puts a damper on an otherwise pretty good figure.
Yeah, that was definitely a shocker seeing that head sculpt. Like TC said, the figure itself looks pretty good overall. Some
here he is.
There he is.
Hey guys,
Scott's very, very happy.
Paul Rudd signed up on this.
I know. It looks like he just got porcelain veneers on there because his teeth are completely perfect. But I know that's the thing. Like, you wonder if he signed off on it before if he just saw the 3D rendering of it with it not painted or whatever it may be. But it is a bummer. I think I talked about this. I had canceled my pre-order a while back once it got delayed, and I want an Ant-Man figure. I like this suit the most. So I think it'll eventually get into the collection. It's just not one I'm
I can't even give a straight face, Roy.
I know, look at that. He needs a thumbs up hand. Like, just I don't know what the heck's going on with that. Yeah, right.
If they just made him have a grin without the teeth.
Yeah.
That would be great.
It'd be fun.
Yeah. Or some people have talked about having either just tweaked the Civil War head sculpt slightly. I'm just saying that.
Yeah, because Roy, even that one looked a little like Ben Affleck. So
yeah, that's.
I still think the first version of him is the best head sculpt. This one, no, that's just off. And it sucks because the Wasp will hopefully get an excellent head sculpt, and you can't post them together because that would look totally stranger danger. That's not going to work.
That's yeah. I didn't even think about that. That is a bummer.
What if it's going to have the same smile, guys?
Oh Lord, they're going to be ditching that head sculpt pretty quickly if they see the response to this one. But I don't know. What do you guys think of like the suit design? And
suit design looks great. So I want to give Parker Files another shout out here. He just reviewed this. I got it up on the site already, and a couple of the things that he had mentioned was like the shoulder pads and the knee pads look like they may not stay on, and actually the elbows as well. If you can kind of see here on the screen, it's a little bit of different material, but Chris, having owned both the Civil War and the original one, I do agree, Chris. I like this suit better. It's got more shelf presence, I think.
Yeah.
The helmet version looks great. So I'm like 45 pictures going through here, sharing what the blogger photos were, and there's only been a few photos of the head sculpt. I don't know why.
Yeah, it's. I mean, and there's. I talk about the blogger photos. I mean, we got some awesome imagery from the likes of BG Toy Art. I think it's Kindar Toys, Ultrajan, different artists out there doing a great job trying to promote this figure as best as possible. But yeah, there's only so much you can do with that head sculpt. Get the little one. You get the
the only way for the mental hospital here.
He needs Joker's straitjacket or something. Like, it's not the best. But it and the other part of this is I wonder how this figure is going to sell. How many people cancel their pre-orders? How many people decided I'm going backwards. I'm going to look for the first or the second one. Instead, I haven't done too much market research, but I think some of the prices of the Ant-Man figures has gone up a little bit since this figure's released. But yeah, I have a feeling it's hard to tell if a lot of these figures are going to be around for a long time, but I have a feeling this one might be. How about you guys?
I think it's time we just move on. What do you say,
Yeah.
Roy?
TC might have something to say, but
No, I mean, it's just like, it's just
So focused on getting Roy the ball here. I forgot about my other co-host here.
it's all good. It's almost like better if they would just not include a head sculpt.
Mm-hmm.
Just offer the figure, and people wouldn't be complaining as much. It's just not their best work. It's actually some of their worst.
Mm-hmm.
But
they tried.
people-
At least they tried
people-
to get something like an expression.
Yeah.
It's not.
Yeah,
best
they did.
one,
It
but
just doesn't go with anything. It doesn't go with anything in any collection other than the fact that it's Paul Rudd.
well, that,
Yeah,
that creepy Yondu third-party head sculpt that could work.
Oh man, yes,
It's rivaling that. Yeah.
it is. The teeth aren't
Getting
quite
into,
as
like,
jagged.
and we try to keep things as positive as possible around here, but because if any of the four of us tried to 3D sculpt this thing, it would look like my 8-year-old did it. So I'm not going to complain too much. But Hot Toys has shown us they can do it better than they certainly have. So next up, TC was Loki.
Yes. Endgame Loki. MMS 579 up for pre-order on Sideshow, $260. And its estimated arrival is April 2021 through June of 2021. So quite a big, about a year lead time, which is pretty standard. But I think the majority of the community's digging this figure, as Chris would say. It's a good update to the original Avengers Loki, in my opinion. New sculpt, new tailoring, added accessories, and just really good work by Hot Toys. What do you think, Chris?
I would agree. A lot of people call the Avengers version the Grail Loki, but I just think this one is they dialed it in. The tailoring, the fit, the way the helmet fits, accessories. I think it's I would prefer this one. I would much rather pay retail for this one than try to pay for 2 and 3 times retail, maybe even more for the Avengers one. I love Loki. He's one of the best, one of the most popular characters in the MCU. And this is it's a good way for them to redo a figure. It's not a reissue. It's a redo or an update. And yeah, I think it'll go good with the Endgame lineup, and then also the Loki series that's coming is supposed to be this version of Loki, and I think it'll be great for Hot Toys to potentially have a figure in stock at the time of when that show airs. I don't know if that was their plan, but it could potentially work out good for them.
So, Roy, what do you think about this? Do you think that this is a look at them redoing that awful Thor figure from Avengers 1, or do you think this was just a stand-in?
Yeah, I hope they redo him, but this is a stand-in for sure. The shoulders are too wide, and you can see the head nor the hair. That's just off. I hope they do a new Thor version, because that would really complete the line for the new looks. Because you get the first, the Mark 7 is very new. We'll get the Captain America, and I need a Thor from first Avengers who looks good.
Oh yeah.
It was fun. So, like, TC, I'm remembering back to those figures, and like the first event, the first Captain America was not good. Obviously, the Thor was not good. We've got an update of the Mark 7, as Roy just mentioned. The Hawkeye, I guess, is all right. That stand up okay. The Black Widow stood up okay. The Thor just looked like he got hit with an ugly truck. So hopefully we get another look at this. But I mean, this looks like the most Tom Hiddleston that we've gotten yet. I mean, it's just the prototype, but
yeah, I think so too. It did get a lot of, I mean, there was a lot of chatter going back and forth saying it looked like Jared Leto, and there was a couple angles, in my opinion, when he has the helmet on that he does kind of look like Jared Leto. But I mean, the two in real life, they look fairly similar. But I mean, I think it's great. I think it'll be a good figure in anybody's lineup.
Yeah, this one's good because it's I like the Ragnarok Loki, but it's very specialized, obviously, to that movie specifically. So this one, like, if you just want Loki in your collection, this is the one to get. And like you said, Bryan, we got the updated figures, or in Roy, Captain America, Iron Man. We did not get a Hulk upgrade yet.
Oh yeah,
but that one's pretty good. The Hulk A1 Hulk is pretty good, in my opinion. It lacks some of the detail that the Age of Ultron version has, and then obviously the Gladiator Hulk. But for its time, it came out in 2012, I think, which is it was really impressive. But yeah, I'm looking forward to this Loki. I haven't pre-ordered it yet, but it's one that I've got my eye on for sure.
All right, I see Allison out in the chat, Roy, here, and here's Ronan. We've got Hawkeye. Speaking of Hawkeye, this one just released on June 19th. TC.
Yeah, Hawkeye. Yeah, just came out. That's MMS 531 from the Avengers Endgame line. Great figure. I think the lead time in this one was about a year. It came out for pre-order early last year, and yeah, I mean, look, Hot Toys, they did what they're supposed to do on this figure. They cashed in on the prototype, and the outfit's great. There's two versions. There's the deluxe version where you get the alternative Ronin look, and then there is the regular Hawkeye version for a little bit cheaper. But yeah, I think either way, I think if you're collecting the Endgame lineup, this is a pretty good figure to have. It's definitely a unique look for Hawkeye. It's not as traditional Avengers look, but definitely stands out. And it's got a cool color scheme with that black and gold.
Yeah, sporting the ninja look. I mean, it's a pretty badass look for Hawkeye. His other looks, I watched some comparison videos, and I had Age of Ultron, and this one definitely overall is the best Hawkeye figure, even though it doesn't have that straight original comic book Hawkeye look. I think this is the Hawkeye to have if you're only going to have one. And I know some people are getting two to have two different both versions, but he's definitely one. He was a dopo for me, and I'm looking forward to getting him in hand. I got the deluxe version, so you can have the full Ronin look. It was a must.
Yeah, I thought the Ronin look was. I mean, in the movie, I thought it was an okay part. It wasn't my favorite part of the movie, but as far as like an action figure, the ninja look is pretty cool. Roy, do you have this one on pre-order?
No, I got rid of my Civil War Hawkeye, and I have no interest in this one. But I do think he looks very good, and there was a lot of comments about his bit of an Asian look to his head sculpt, but I just see it as more of a samurai look, and you can see his despair in his eyes. I think the sculpt is very good.
Yeah. Hot Toys will do that sometimes. I feel like they'll give they try. It's not like a stylized. It's almost like a stylized look, but yeah, great sculpt.
I too once had this on pre-order at one point, and I regret it a little bit, but my MCU stuff is just strictly Cap at this point, so I'll enjoy this one from afar. This just some really good photos. I think they just nailed this release. I think it's great. So kudos and congrats to everybody that was definitely looking forward to this one. I think you're gonna get a good release. All right. So speaking of another good release here, TC, not to be outdone by their fellow Budapest counterpart here, but as I'm going to bring up the photos here, if I can figure out how to, man, like that,
Damn.
Roy, I think they nailed
Yeah, this is just
Scarlett
perfect.
Johansson here.
There were a couple of bad releases, and just this one just shut everybody up again. This is such a great release. She looks incredible. I almost regret canceling my pre-order because this looks so good. Her outfit is on point. The head sculpt is great. No rooted hair, which I really love. So this is just gorgeous.
So what do we got for stats here, TC?
MMS 533 up for pre-order early last year, and it just released about a week ago. So yeah, great figure. And I don't know, I feel this one is kind of like the figure to awake the sleeping giant that is the MCU and the Hot Toys collecting community, because this is a great figure. This is Roy. I don't know what you're doing. You need to pick this pre-order back up. This is not one to cancel. I can understand Rocket because it's they give you the one sculpt, just the screaming version, and they didn't really do their best effort with that one. And then Hawkeye, specialized character. But this is Black Widow here.
Yeah,
this is Black Widow. It's clearly their best sculpt that they've done.
This
for Black Widow.
might be one I
really
have to
good.
pick up after the movie release of Black Widow, because then you'll have her starting point. Well, it's somewhat of a midway point, I think, the movie, of course.
Right.
But this just looks very good.
Yeah, the head sculpt. Some of their, this is just really great work by Hot Toys with the head sculpt. And the outfit looks like it's pretty durable. It's not a pleather type material. It's kind of the synthetic.
Looks like the cap, the TC, maybe like the concept art cap suit, maybe.
Yeah, that's a good point. And I mean, this is what people have been wanting. They haven't, the Infinity War Black Widow had the rooted hair, which wasn't everyone's, cup of tea. It was blonde. I guess, has every other Black Widow had rooted hair?
Yes,
I think so.
Yeah.
So this is the first one that's sculpted. That's a big plus, and just a classic look. Even goes beyond Endgame. Just a great look for the character.
So many good blogger photos here too.
We need to click through this one very fast, because it's gonna cost me to click through something as well.
So while we're doing that, so I know there's a lot of people in the chat. Sorry, I just got stuck on this one photo here. There's people out in the community, like obviously somebody like Cletus is saying, like, you guys, it was basically saying once Marvel got back going, everybody was going to regret doing all the selling and stuff. And I can say I didn't regret it for one bit. Like, I'm still really comfortable with what I ended up doing, but you can definitely see, guys, the shift, the paradigm is shifting a little bit towards Marvel again. And we'll see.
Just need to drop the 85 next week.
Yeah.
And Mark 85 followed by the Iron Patriot, and then you'll see some tidal waves.
Yeah.
See the market
Battle
shift
Damage
a little
85 after that.
Oh, yeah, that one's a ways away.
2012
Yeah.
cap.
But some of them, like, I still don't know, because some of them they pushed out the date so far, like the Endgame cap on Sideshow, it's like October, so they're probably not going to release that until like August.
Nebula is potentially next January now. Like,
Oh wow.
so it is strange that how they shift figures up and back and all that sort of thing. But just touching on Black Widow, I mean, she was a dopo for me. That was a no-brainer. Super excited for this one, hoping that I know Allie was talking, her last payments are coming up soon, and I'm hoping that Sideshow gets their stock pretty soon with some of these figures, Ronin, Black Widow, so that way we can get some of these figures in people's hands. And people can order them directly from Hong Kong. A lot of the retailers and stuff have them, so that's not a problem. But for us that pre-ordered them here with some of the companies in the States, we definitely want to get that stuff in hand, because we want to talk about those figures once they get over here. But yeah, she's a great looking figure. So
shifting gears here, let's talk about Rhodey. So the Mark 6 we still don't know what the Mark V is, but I guess we'll find that out someday, or why they skipped 5 and went right to 6, or what the Iron Patriot 2.0 mark number is, or whatever. But so this was infamously, we called this the keto diet War Machine, more like the Mark II, where it was very slim. But a couple of things, guys, that I saw here, Roy, was that I think people are a little pleasantly surprised at this one, that it turned out better than they expected.
Yeah, it's just sort of a hidden release, and nobody was anticipating this, I think. But yeah, it turned out great. Just what you say, it's a cross between the bulkiness of the Mark III and the Mark II with this slim line. So yeah, but if you look at the joints, it's just they're so much better now. It's incredible. You look so tight, no gaps or anything.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
TC, yeah. What are the stats on this guy?
Yeah, it is MMS 530, diecast 31. That's a lot of diecast figures out now for Hot Toys. Yeah, side note there. Yeah, but MMS 530, about a year wait time for this one, pretty much standard. Maybe a little bit longer for the end game line so far, but yeah, it retails for $370, and Sideshow should be getting their stock soon on this one. But yeah, it looks pretty good. I mean, it's not going to have the same impact as the Iron Patriot is going to for a collector. It's just like Roy said, it's kind of like a hidden release. It's under the radar. I think I was looking forward to like that team suit version, which is the same suit, just the white version. Never got released, but this one's kind of grown on me actually, because it's like Roy said, that the engineering's there. So the engineering's there. It is sleeker, but he had some screen time with this in Endgame, and he didn't have a lot of action, and he actually got destroyed once Thanos came a calling. But yeah, I like it. How about you, Chris? What do you think?
Again, it's War Machine. He looks, almost every one of the releases looks, pretty sweet. I had this on pre-order. I canceled it when I was dialing back my pre-orders, and I doubt that I'll pick this one up because I've got the Mark IV, and if I'm going to get one, I'm going to get the Iron Patriot. I haven't pre-ordered that one yet, but I mean, he just looks cool. War Machine is just a cool looking figure, and I think that his figures sell pretty well across the board, and it's just a cool looking figure on the shelf.
I will say the $370 price tag is actually a selling point, because you start looking at the figures now. Iron Patriot's almost $450. I mean, if you're going to get it from Sideshow, you're paying almost $500. So to get it at $370, and then maybe if you wait it out a little bit, you might be able to get a good deal. To me, that's a major positive on this figure, because a lot of the Iron Man figures are now north of $400 and going higher. Mm-hmm. And so if you're looking for a good deal, this one could be had for a good price.
I just like the shot where he's knocking out Star-Lord, just like many of us want to do after Infinity War. So,
I guess is War Machine, is that character done in the MCU, pretty much?
I don't think so. So. There's been rumors that he might be involved in some of the shows coming up in the future. So we'll have to see if that's the case, but I hope he's not done. I like Rhodey. Don Cheadle does a great job with that character, and I think his character still has life left in it.
Yeah, for sure. So other stuff, guys, and I'm getting extremely jealous because I've got my pre-orders of the Solo figures on with Stevens Collectibles in Texas, and it seems like everybody else is getting their Sideshow orders of the Mud Trooper and the Solo Standard and Deluxe Roy, and I know that I have to wait, and it must be excruciating to know that you've got to wait even longer.
Yeah.
Not to
Oh,
rub it
man.
in or anything.
No, I want that Mud Trooper so much. I'm actually hoping to get another one. I think both looks are great, and I'm so afraid that I messed up one of the head sculpts because of the Mud Trooper helmet, that I might get a second one or try something to get a swappable head with a helmet. But yeah, I need to wait so long for those figures.
But not until because you shifted, going forward, a lot of your stuff you've gotten from like some of the Hong Kong guys. So eventually here, you're going to beat all of us. You're going to
Oh
be
yeah,
able to
yeah,
get,
yeah. We'll
hey
get
guys,
to
I
hear
went
that,
from 9 months later after everybody else to, hey, I got it like the day after it was released.
yeah, with the collection update, I have a small surprise. So yeah.
What? All right. I didn't have a chance to look at the notes because I'll just tell everybody now my update is so epic that nobody is ever going to see it coming. So
Unheard of.
Oh my god.
Yeah, just when you thought I couldn't do any better, I outdid myself this time. So
Yeah. I'm the solo figures. I've got one from BBTS and then the other one from Underground Figures, and it's going to be even longer for me. I don't know. I don't know yet. I haven't gotten any word from either one of the retailers when stock will be coming in or anything like that. So I'm dying to get those figures in stock, in hand. They're just watching all the reviews and everything, and they're just awesome figures.
everybody's wondering where Qui-Gon is, and I have that same question.
Why is Qui-Gon?
Where's Gamora?
No, that's one that's now well over 2 years.
Yeah.
So, God, and Wasp, I honestly, guys, was surprised Wasp wasn't out the same day as Ant-Man. So
yeah, they went up for pre-order the same day, and it would have been fitting to have them release on the same day. And I don't know, I haven't checked the dates for her expected release. But again, that's a figure that I had dopoed and I had canceled it. And I do plan on adding her to the collection, but who knows? Who knows with some of these figures? I know, Albert. Gamora.
Oh, there's a couple. Oh man, yeah. Everybody's Nathan's wondering where Cody is. I'm as well. I didn't even see Dean sneak it in here. I mean, to be honest, Dean, all I got is dad jokes. So if I don't get dad jokes, I don't get anything. And I got to give a shout out to Robert here, saying that my collection update, honey, the master bedroom is now the collection room. Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, all right. So guys, enough news, and I hope we're lucky enough for episode 51 to have as much news as we just did there. But so who wants to go first? You talk first. I talk first.
I'll go first because mine's not that epic. So all I did was I'm dipping my toes even further into the Asmus 6 scale line and pre-ordered Gimli from BBTS and cue the JT GIF disapproval. We'll see if that one's.
He's waiting for you after the show. I'll send it to you in our admin chat right now.
Thanks. And then my only other thing is one of the best listeners. He just commented. Mr. Danny Lee sent me an awesome gift of some Harley Quinn related goodness and an actual. There he is. JT, I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. Had to do it. Yeah, Dan, thanks so much. It's the sentiment was much appreciated, and anything that can go into my now ever expanding Harley Quinn collection is that's good.
Was this like a second run of Gimli's or something? I thought that figure's been out for a while.
I don't know if it is because it's sold out on Asmus, and the pre-order is still up on BBTS.
They must have got a second run. That's you could get that already. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. There was other one, there was ones available on eBay and stuff, but just went that route. We'll see, like I said, if I stick with it or not. But yeah, that's it for me. Pretty boring.
Nothing wrong with that. Roy, want to go next?
Yeah, sure. When did you guys get your Krennic? That's just an open question to. And Chris has him. All three of you had him at one point, I think.
Yeah.
Yep.
Or have him. When did you get him?
A
few weeks ago.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I finally got him, so yay. Today. I'm so on it with the releases, yeah.
Yes.
I unpacked him today, and it really is a great figure. That head sculpt is on point, and I inspected him for the yellow dots, which you saw in some of the figures, but nothing there. So it's totally crisp and clean, and I really like him. Have to set him up soon so I can watch his head sculpt, and I think I'm going with that cap look, the raincoat, which as TC
look.
said, TC said I would never have thought I displayed him in that, but I think he will look great in that look. So I'm gonna try that first. And the other figure I received today is Rocket from Endgame. So that's way before everybody else. So yay! That's my first figure from Hong Kong, which I got fairly fast after release. I think he's out for 3 weeks now.
Mm-hmm.
And I really like him. I didn't pre-order him, but after seeing the reviews and just the suit looks great, and the red from the scarf looks great, and I have the Iron Patriot version 2 on pre-order, so that's just going to be an epic look on the shelf to combine those two. So I'm very happy with him, and I have the Guardians of the Galaxy 2 version as well, so I can swap the head sculpts easily if I.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and I really
good call.
all the accessories are great as well. I noticed it with Krennic as well. The guns they stepped it up a bit. I think the guns from Krennic looks great, and the guns from Rocket look great as well. So even the tiniest stuff accessories are receiving some updates from Hot Toys as well. So very happy with those.
Very cool.
Awesome. Have you done the color comparison between the Guardians of the Galaxy 2 Rocket and the Endgame one? I was curious to see if the
not
color...
yet, but I think it's slightly off. I think the Endgame version is a bit darker, but I don't think you'll notice it because his whole body is covered with a suit as well, and he has boots on. So it's very. I don't think you'll ever notice.
Okay, good to know.
TC, why don't you go next? Thanks, Roy.
All right. Thanks, Roy.
I'm saving the best for last, guys.
Yeah, as usual.
That's what happens when I'm in control of the agenda and moderating.
Yeah, and if anyone's watching me on screen, I'm like super fidgety right now because my dog's in here and she's like, "You will not leave me alone." But anyway,
I couldn't even tell that I'm on the same show as you. So.
I did a couple things. I sold my Snowtrooper from Empire Strikes Back. It was actually the video game version, VGM 24. It wasn't the Empire Strikes Back version, but I don't know. With that figure, I started losing a little bit of interest in it, knowing that even if they were to release like a Hoth Luke or a Hoth Han, it wouldn't make my display exponentially better. I lost a little bit of love for that figure, so I got rid of it. And then I also sold MMS 429 Return of Jedi Luke. It's actually a duplicate. I have one on my shelf right now. I really need to stop doing that, where I buy multiples of figures because I think they have multiple looks, and they do. It's just the figures are they're so expensive to dupe up on them. It's makes it a little bit challenging to collect other things I want. So I ended up parting ways with that one, and I did bring in probably the best Hot Toys release ever. The Hot Toys Winnie the Pooh 2-pack with Piglet And if you go on anotoys.com, Philippine-based company, they have it for really cheap. So like if you get it in Hong Kong, you're paying like $350 plus, and they are selling it for like $220. So the way you do it is you order through them, and then they'll invoice you the shipping. Well, the shipping was $80. So I was like, I don't know, guys. I'm actually, I didn't know it'd be that high. So I ended up saying I don't want to go through with it. And then they said, well, will you take it for $60 shipping? It's DHL. It gets there really quickly. And I said, okay. I did it. So I got under for $280 total. So that shipped from Philippines to United States. And I think that's a pretty good price. I mean, that sets, still pretty pricey, like I said, in Hong Kong. And you can't find it in the U.S. So I'm probably going to end up selling my single Winnie the Pooh figure, and kind of help subsidize that purchase. But yeah, so that was the big purchase in the last couple weeks. So that's all I have.
Very cool. And TC, Lotus wants to see your dog, so.
Oh, that's not a big dog. I can tell already.
There we go. First non-human to be on the podcast.
Yeah, her name's Isabella. She was getting near my Tarkin figure a little too close for my liking.
You don't want that.
Wasn't there an incident?
Oh, yeah. She's got a really bad habit of, like, if she doesn't get her way, she'll slam stuff with her paws. And so she wasn't getting her way, and she was in my room, and she slammed Veronica on the ground. So she's now banned. Other than now, she's now banned from the room at all times.
Except when it's podcast time.
Yep.
Very cool.
All right. Drum roll.
So I finally did it, guys. I have no update. Not really. Nada, zilch, anything. No pre-orders. Nothing coming and going. I was hoping that I would get some of the solo figures and be able to get invoiced for those and pay for them, but nothing. I think honestly, Chris, it might be the first time ever that I don't have a single update at all.
It's very possible. I
think it's true.
If we have any scavenger historians here that want to fact check that, but I'm pretty content with where my collection is. I mentioned it last time out. I've kind of shifted a little bit of my collection. I've got a couple statues now, and I guess an update I have is to this way over here. You can actually kind of see it in the back. I got a new metal bookcase for my birthday, and I've got some lights up on it. So maybe at some point here, when I get my mod cases, I'll do a collection tour. But my Hot Toys are this way from me, and still looking fantastic. And yeah, we'll see. So nothing really struck my fancy pre-order wise, and just I didn't sell anything because I'm actually pretty good. Like, I don't think there's even anything I would want to if I could. So I'm at a good spot. I think I'm good. So
that's a good thing. It's taken a long time.
And there's an extended I guess lead time from the last podcast to this one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
2.5
even more impressive.
So Arrow Maestro saying no update from Bryan. Is God real? Yeah, I don't know. I wish I was making this up, but I'm not. No updates. Sorry to disappoint all the scavengers. Everybody's probably, walking with their head down. Just
well, I mean, Lotus is saying, doesn't it feel good to have peace and collecting?
Yeah.
It's. I wish I could get to that point.
Lotus is the man, by the way. I mean, we've had him on as a guest before. I've met him in person, and just one of the coolest persons to talk collecting with. And he's been helping me a little bit with my other endeavor here. Like I said, I'm not sure I'm going to start making animatronic robot updates, but we'll see someday. Never say never.
Yeah, I do have to say, Bryan, that shelving unit that you picked out, the variability with it and everything. I mean, I think it works perfect in your room, and to be able to
love it for Hot Toys. And I got the idea. So I got it off Amazon. I'll have to show pictures later of it on the group or something. But so I have a couple shelves taken out so a quarter scale can fit in there. But to be honest, like if I was super careful with dusting and stuff. I think it would actually look really cool to, kind of have lights and stuff. So it's yeah. So now I'm going to have to show it later. Thanks, Chris. All right, guys, let's get on to our topic. And this is to say thank you. Thank you to the Scavengers, new and old. Chris, we set out in the very beginning to help people, to help ourselves, but then to learn, to grow the community, learn from the community, hopefully help people. And time after time recently, whether it's somebody like, I completely forgot the story. And, I think that's just one thing it's interesting to feel like we're not famous or anything. We don't try to be. We don't think we're a big deal. I think I think I'm like a huge screw up. So the fact that anybody actually wants to hear anything I say is always amazing to me. But it's just funny that the impact that this community has for people, that the impact that we can have, and just some of the stories that obviously mean a lot to each individual, but that I've either forgotten about or I just didn't think it was a huge deal. And I'm so like, I said it at the top, like reading through some people's comments of what they shared about what this, this podcasting community means. Like I literally teared up. Like it was really dusty in the room. I could have sworn somebody was cutting up some onions, but I mean, it just made it all worth it, Chris. Like all the long hours either editing or working on the website of hours upon hours and stuff and all that other stuff. It was just so stinking cool.
It really was. And, we decided to make this post, just asking Scavengers how they found the podcast, what it means to them. And I had a break at work yesterday and I just started going through them, and I'm standing there and working in a lab in a vet hospital, and I'm like trying to hold back some tears. I couldn't believe, what it means to people, and that we could have that effect on so many people. And it really does. It gives you that boost that you sometimes need. Bryan talked about, you have the ups and downs in, obviously in life and collecting, and even with a project like this, podcasting, it's a lot of effort. It's a lot of time. We have all these different avenues related to the podcast that we try to keep up with. We want to interact with our members, our listeners, and that sort of thing. And sometimes it can feel not necessarily like a job, but it does sometimes get overwhelming. And when you hear all that, just goodness coming in from everybody, it felt awesome. And I just want to thank everybody that wants to join in and be a part of this community. So, yeah.
Yes. So Chris, we had an appearance on Star Wars 7x7. Alan Voivod does an excellent podcast if you want a daily dose of Star Wars. I don't mind plugging because he's also a fellow New Hampshireite and has a great podcast. He's a super nice person too. But we made an appearance there and we kind of gave our backstory. But if you haven't had a chance to listen to that, Chris, so we used to be with the Brick City Blockade Star Wars podcast, and with their website, I had started these checklists that we're still using now and for Hot Toys. And I used to do it for SH Figure Arts and Black Series and a whole bunch of other stuff, but landed on Hot Toys and I started collecting them. And I blame our favorite Scotsman, Scott, who eventually got me to convince me to get the Shore Trooper. And he's a very bad man, but he's also a very nice man. And just from there, I was just absolutely hooked. And then I started doing all the checklists and stuff. And Chris, I think I eventually got you we met at the Concord Hospital parking lot, and money changed hands, and I gave you the Winter Soldier Black Widow. And after that, you were hooked. And the more I got into the checklist and stuff, and you and I were looking for an outlet to continue to have a focus. We talk about collecting focus all the time, but when you podcast about Star Wars, it is so enormous and there's so much to keep up with in the movies and who's got a beef with who on social media and all this other stuff and what's coming down the pipeline and blah, 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 blah. It's just like it was impossible to keep up with. And you think like Star Wars just being one franchise that it could be done. And you and I just were just, it wasn't, that part wasn't fun anymore. And we loved the collecting aspect. So I said, hey, what if we do this? We've got this database. Let's, keep going with these checklists. But what if we do this podcast? Because there really wasn't a whole lot 2 years ago out there. There's now so much content out there with other podcasts that do an awesome job and YouTube and stuff. But to tackle it from the point of view of we don't know a whole lot. Let's try to learn as we go and see if we can help other people that are less experienced. And let's draw on people's experience that do know more, and then let's learn and just go. And that's where kind of the name, Six Skill Scavengers came from. The name actually was inspired by Rey and her scavenger. And obviously the alliteration, Chris, was just too easy to go with.
It was perfect combination of words there. It was this little thing that we were just kind of messing around with. And once I got more into it, once I started selling off stuff and getting into the quality over quantity type of collecting and deciding that Hot Toys 6 scale area was going to be a focus of mine. It was just so fun to see what was out there, learn about stuff, and that just kept building. And I think it worked out the best way it could have as far as us forming the idea of the podcast and continuing to brainstorm over the first part of 2018 to figure out what we wanted to have in the podcast. I think the fact that we came up with a good idea and a somewhat structured plan, and to try to, right off the bat, we tried to be as consistent as possible. Bryan, you really focused on trying to make sure our audio was as good as it could be, the way we sounded. And then we just wanted to make sure that we had our bases covered as far as like the production. And I mean, I was a pain in the butt for you. I didn't have a laptop. I didn't have a desktop. I was using my phone most of the time. My audio was so bad, and you spent so many hours trying to dial everything in. And I mean, I think all that effort really paid off. And then we just going with the group, and then, building on the website, deciding that we were going to become our own thing, and kind of, separating amicably from Brick City and just going off on our own path. I think it's all, it really happened. Everything happened for a reason. And then with the Facebook group starting, and again, us having this plan to try to have this, positive community with like-minded people. And I think just having all those elements together, and then, Roy jumps in, TC, and then, Matt and Steve, and everybody just had this vision of what they wanted Six Scale Scavengers and the offshoots to be. And the community speaks for itself as far as what people get out of it and how positive it is and helpful and that sort of thing. It's just the podcast. We always say it, we never thought it would be like this. We're not the biggest thing, but I think we just have a really good thing, and we don't have to be the biggest thing to be the best thing. But having the interactive nature to our listeners and the amount of people that want to be part of the live videos, the live chats, all that sort of thing. I mean, it goes to show that this is something that means a lot to them, for them to put use their time to spend it with us. And I just hope that that continues. And I don't know where I'm going with this rant.
No, it's good.
no.
I mean, it's from the heart.
Yeah.
It is, and it's just awesome. So, Roy, you kind of preceded TC. We've had you on the podcast a couple different times. You had Rogue 1-6 for a little bit, and we try to keep you included as much as possible going forward. But to kind of put you on the spot here and just get your, share your opinion of what originally drew you, to what this community was about.
Yeah, I think the best word is approachability for some reason. I've joined so many other groups before this group, and I just randomly started searching for podcasts from Hot Toys, and you guys showed up the first hit, and I started listening to you, and I just felt like you had the same interest as me, and you talked about Hot Toys with the same passion as me, and just the sheer wonder of the figures, which I loved. And then I joined your group, and that just the small size, but felt a bit like coming into some sort of a Cheers style cafeteria. Just everybody knows you. Everybody knows you, and it's just everybody knows what some of us collect, and everybody responds to some of the smaller posts. But it's just the interaction with each other is just something I missed dearly, because here in Holland, well, I now know Michael Rosa, he lives nearby, but there's just nothing to talk figures with, nobody to talk figures with in this sort of format, and nothing like a group or something like that. So this just filled the hole I needed, and it was one of the best things I did. Setting up a Rogue 1-6 with Matt was something I would never have guessed. Talking in English on a podcast was something I would never have done. I can type fairly fast in English, but talking is something else. But I think I'm doing okay, and it's.
You could have fooled me. I mean, I think I think you speak English better than some Americans. So.
Yeah, but still,
many.
I can talk so much faster in Dutch, but it's just no. I love being here, and I would have. You did something great, and I'm very happy to be a part of it and to contribute in such a small way.
And I definitely, and I can say this, I definitely consider you a true friend at this point. So I know if I ever do visit Holland, I know I can. My wife will probably think I'm crazy because I can go to all these different places and know somebody, but it's what some kind of a community can do here. So. Thanks. Roy. So TC, we mentioned a little bit ago, you did so good as a co-host. You had made a couple appearances on the Scavengers Assemble, and Chris and I, had talked at the time, and we, Roy was doing his own thing, and we wanted to kind of expand the show just because we needed some help. We're a bunch of hacks, and I think the 3-man booth, I think what we eventually did was one of the best changes we could have made here to the podcast.
Oh, well, thanks. I'll take that as a compliment. But yeah, I guess my backstory is I always watched Hot Toys reviews, so Justin's collection, but even before Justin's collection, some of the other ones, PJ, the Paradox Nerd, did a lot of reviews, and he plugged your podcast. And so I go and listening to the podcast, probably 3-4 episodes in. I'm like, oh man, these guys are amazing at podcasting. So that's what drew me to the Facebook group, because I actually did think you were pretty good. Like I even went back today. I think I mentioned earlier, I listened to episode 1. It's not bad. It's pretty good interaction just between you two. Mm-hmm. And like Roy said, it's just something about like how you guys interact makes you approachable, and people can hear that and they can pick up on that. So you can pick up on, being humble, friendly, amicable. You can pick up on those kind of things just by listening to you. And when you do that, it makes people, want to kind of get involved. And I think that's kind of how I felt. Now, this was a couple years ago at this point, and when I joined the group, there were only, 20 people, 25 people in the group, and now it has 315 or something like that, 300 plus. And while it's grown, the dynamics have changed a little bit. It still has a similar feel. It still has the people at the top leading the way, and you guys, you do a great thing. And I think, as the podcast progresses, as the Facebook group grows, I think it'll still always have, with you two leading the way, it'll still have the same type of feel. And, it's just been great. And, joining the podcast has been really fun. I enjoy talking about things. I enjoy interacting with, other friends I have in the community on the podcast and outside the podcast. And it's just been really, really a different experience because I've been around Hot Toys for not as long as some people. I know some people have been around since 2010 or earlier, but since 2015 I've been around in and out of the game, and it's just been a really, really fun, rewarding experience for the last couple of years at this point. So
yeah, and Roy said, this is an opportunity to practice speaking English, and TZ, you'd mentioned too that you're able to leverage some of the things that you've learned in speaking in public and stuff, giving presentations and stuff. So there's a lot of things that are other benefits that has been as a result of this.
That's very, very, very true. So, like, my job requires me to oftentimes speak in front of large audiences. A lot of it's virtual, but this has helped me a lot. Be able to articulate what I want to in front of people and not feel, I don't know, that everyone's judging everything I say. So this has been a positive. That's secondary to the collecting, of course, but it's a good benefit.
All right, guys, let's keep this train rolling. And so I did mention that we wanted to, so we're going to alternate going through here if you guys are all set to do that. And we're each just going to rotate. I'll start Chris, TC, then Roy, and then we'll cycle back through and just, not verbatim read through some of these comments. And I have condensed some of them down or just grab certain sections. But I'm gonna say now, I hopefully I don't tear up live on air here. But so I'll go first. So this was somebody shared here. So this is by far one of the best 1/6 communities out now because the hosts are down to earth and personal. The community at large is the greatest because we've done the impossible by keeping it drama free. And that's one thing, Chris, that you and I try very hard at doing.
Yeah, we do. And sometimes it's impossible to avoid, but no, we try to, we don't try to keep, a super tight ship, but we try to convey how we want the group to interact and that sort of thing. So things have been pretty good so far. All right, I'll go next. This is the only 6-scale group I follow, and everyone is extremely friendly and generous with their advice. Whenever I hear of someone who collects Hot Toys, I recommend this group to them. Hey, that's, we asked for that. We could only ask for that.
All right, my turn. So the friendly, welcoming, and helpful nature of the group has always been a big appeal for me. And that's a great thing to say.
Mm-hmm.
Much appreciated.
Okay, I'll do the next one. Your podcast is a breath of fresh air. You guys just seem so humble, open, and positive. I will always be a fan of your show. Keep up the great work. Yeah, it's what I said. The humble and openness is just it makes you feel welcome immediately. Mm-hmm. So good job.
This group feels like a real community, and we've reiterated that several different times.
Absolutely. I know who this one is.
I'm gonna unmask this person. This is Mark's.
He was lingering in the chat. He said his wife is telling him to get back to doing the floor or something like that. But he stalked the Vintage Viewport, which is me, and the Jedi Scavenger, which is Bryan. So when they made a podcast, I was waiting in the weeds.
Just a quick story about this. So I met Mark and his wife when I was in Pennsylvania the summer of 2018. My family went to Hershey Park, and one of the nights I snuck away from my son and my wife, and I went out to eat with Mark and his wife, and we had just literally dropped the first episode, and I've known Mark for a while, back to like the Dork Lair days that I've done with Bill Dranowski. So definitely thankful for have Mark in this community.
Dude, I've always wondered how you met Mark, because sometimes you talk as if like you live right next to him, but it's
7 hours,
like hours away. Yeah.
Yeah. Mark's in a bunch of other, he listens to a bunch of the other similar podcasts, and he's in a lot of the other podcast communities, Star Wars collecting and stuff. So if you're in those other groups, you'll see him again lurking and stalking other people.
Nice. All right, next comment is, this is what the community means to me. Friendship. It's that simple. That's a really great thing to hear, especially considering how, I guess, distant sometimes online interaction can be.
Yeah.
Well, this next one could have been from me, but for some reason I decided to see if there were any podcasts related to collecting, and boom, I wound up binging on about 10 episodes that weekend. Sorry, was it boom too?
No,
I
Brian.
That was good.
I made sure
Did I
that
need
you
to drop the boom?
I just wanted to hear you say boom several times.
In Dutch it's boom, and boom is tree. So
No,
I could say.
definitely boom.
All right,
Yeah.
so the next one is, I found the group through comments on Tashi Station, another great group by John Martino. And yes, I'm one of the morons that didn't answer all the questions when I sent my request to join the community the first time. I love the sense of community. The Scavengers are more about supporting each other than anything else, lifting us up when we're feeling down, sharing our excitements, and encouraging our passions.
Oh, yeah. About a year ago, I started in my new job. Was looking for podcasts to listen to while I worked. I wanted to listen to the 6 scale stuff, since with this new job meant I could get Hot Toys. Saw a long view format YouTube video. Sorry, say that 10 times fast. And it was you guys. 1 episode and I loved it. Listened to you guys for a good while until I decided to join the Facebook group. Some of the best decisions I've made. Love your chill attitudes and love what you all do. Here's to 50 more. Let's hope.
All right. The best community out there. The admin team works hard. Keeping up with those databases on the website alone is an intense project. I try never to miss an episode, and you're right, it is. I work very hard on the databases. No, that's all Bryan. That's his baby.
Yeah.
The databases are his thing, and he does really good job on those. Put a lot of time in them.
Mm-hmm.
So to the extent that you guys use them, yeah, that's a great thing.
Okay, I'm just going to watch this if there's a word Bryan wants me to say, but I think I'm all in the clear. So I was watching one of Cletus Selden's videos, and he mentioned that this group was the best 6 scale group out there. And I sent my request to join you guys right after the video. He was not wrong. This is the best 6 scale group, hands down.
That means a lot coming from Cletus and the person that wrote this.
And Cletus is awesome.
Yeah.
So the community means a lot to me. Not many people know that I collect, that I know collect or understand why I collect. So it's hard to share my thoughts and get excited with someone. Knowing that everyone here shares my passion and I can talk with them, with everybody actually engaged in the topic, is just the best.
I don't have any friends or coworkers that collect.
I let you.
And that pause was excellent, Chris.
You put the emphasis on the wrong part of that statement.
Emphasis on the, yeah.
Why don't you start that one over?
No, I'm just I just wanted to say the first part. I don't have any friends or coworkers that Okay, I'll start over again. I don't have any friends or coworkers that collect or would even understand 6 scale collecting. I can talk shop with anyone, but this small community of collectors scratches that itch.
All right, you will not find a greater group of helpful, informative, and supportive people.
Okay.
I'm
sorry.
It's all you, Roy.
My favorite aspect of the podcast were talking about the finances side of collecting Hot Toys, and I was so interested that I actually made my own YouTube channel reviewing Hot Toys, but mainly from an investment perspective.
And again, just another, the 6 scale economist is in our group, and just another, just showing that there's a lot of other, people out there that are spun out of, some of these discussions. So, all right, selfishly, I'm going to do the next 2 just because I really wanted to say one of these. I love the passion this group has for this part of the hobby. It's cool to know that there are a lot of other people with the same addiction. I also like how there's a great way to see more about a figure you've been considering getting. Chances are someone in here has it, and you can help make a good decision for your collection. And it's true. I mean, that's one of the things that as everybody is very supportive and freely shares information and stuff. I think that's great. I don't think there's any elitism in our group. So this one got me a lot. And the scavenger that wrote this is one of my favorite. I'll keep their identity secret. So I don't mean to get too deep or personal, but this group has always been an escape for me from real life and my depression and insecurities. And Chris mentioned a little bit ago, like those ups and downs that we all have. But this group went to another level in my book when it shared a post that it made it clear that this group believes that my laugh matters and certain things need to change. When I saw the post, I broke down and cried because Six Scale Scavengers is one of the few collector groups I've seen take a stand like that. And I can't speak for everybody else, but that meant a lot to me. And then it just made me even feel more welcome in this group. I don't feel like I have to hide who I am in this group. I love this group, and I truly believe this is the best collector group on Facebook and the best podcast in the world. And yeah, one thing I just want to say, and Chris, I don't think you and I have ever said this, and we try not to be controversial or say things that are favoring, if there's ever different sides of things, not that we play towards the middle or anything, but we just try not to be, we try not to make waves and stuff like that. But I will say one thing is the way that we carry ourselves, and I think really speaks volumes to like how we treat certain things. And it first and foremost, I think if anybody at this point doesn't know this, we try to be respectful of everybody, regardless of where you come from, your experience level, and everything. And that's just a personal belief of mine. And but yeah, no, this one, this was just so awesome to see, and to know that we can have that level of an impact for somebody. It just means the world to me.
It really does. All right. As a longtime 6-scale 1/6 collector, the content and entertainment of this group is priceless. I found out about the group last year when I did a search for 6-scale podcasts to see if one existed. 6-scale Scavengers popped up. I listened to a couple episodes and was hooked. To find others out there with the same passion was great.
All right. The short of it is that you all are wonderful people who deserve so much praise. Those are kind words. We don't deserve the praise, but thank you. The work and dedication everyone has put in to make a place where we can make this hobby and its community a better place is immeasurable. Lists, reviews, podcasts, pre-order, heads up, emergency repairs, networking. This group and its podcasts have it all in a massively positive environment.
And a shout out, I know we've mentioned her a couple different times with Allie, who's basically one of the founders of kind of the Assemble live streams and stuff. It's so helpful when it comes to like care for figures or like repairs and stuff like that. So I just wanted to personally thank Allie as well for being part of the community.
Okay, next up, the group itself is something else. I've gotten to know some really great people, and it's been so much fun to go on this collecting adventure with everyone. I also appreciate that everyone respects each other and generally cares so much about the group that they don't allow any drama to creep in. Yeah, that's what you hear from everybody. No drama, and just, yeah. It's not that something like this inflicts drama, but it's just nice to have nothing in a group. Nothing like that at all.
Yeah, for sure, Roy. The community and the group are a fantastic group of guys and gals and a nice escape from reality. It's definitely my go-to group. Big thank you to all the admins who regularly put out content every week, and like we've talked about, kind of just keeping things moderated. And we don't have to do that much. I mean, we try to keep tabs on what's going on and try to make sure we're interacting with a lot of the posts out there. We sometimes miss some, but I think the fact that we kind of know most of what's usually going on, the four of us are usually really on top of things. So I got to thank the three of you for helping with that community building.
Okay, so the last two episodes where you guys have been talking about selling figures and how to budget has really helped me focus. I know that's just another topic that, because we go through it ourselves, I think it's great to share that with everybody else. Yeah, budgeting is one of Bryan's passions. He likes Excel sheets, and so any way we can be helpful in that aspect is good.
It's always felt like home to me. All of you guys are like family, from the admins to the members. It's great being part of this group. I said it before, you guys are second to none.
It's really awesome to not only hear people speak about what I love so much, but to be able to just go on Facebook and see others in the same boat I am, who all enjoy what I enjoy. That's a weird sentence. Sorry.
I may have typed it wrong, Roy. It's not your fault. I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, I love this group and thank the admins and fellow members for the constant contributions that provide an escape from the hustle and bustle of life. We are here for each other no matter where we're from, and kind of along with what I had just said a little bit ago.
I appreciate it because they're like two friends just talking and brought us listeners along for the conversation. I was not a Facebook user, but decided to join. I think I was member 45. It's funny because they talked about never thinking they could get many people to listen or follow the Facebook site. Again, I appreciated their humble nature.
It's true.
Mm-hmm.
What I love about this site is no fighting or disparaging remarks about anyone's collecting. We all respect what everyone else is doing. We also get to hear about our hosts' stories on air and realize we all have some common issues and struggles. That's important because there's so much of that, disparaging remarks everywhere else. To go to a group like ours, hopefully that's not an issue.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and Jesper had said something, Chris, or a little bit ago about about the honesty and that you admit that we don't always make money if we sell things or the stuff that you don't like. And honesty is one of the best policies for anything in life, but we're not going to sugarcoat things. We may be overly positive just because we're spending our own hard-earned money on this. We're not making any money on this ordeal, and by any means, no kickbacks from anything. We're just doing it just to shine the spotlight on others, to help others, pay it forward. We hope other scavengers will continue to do that and pay it forward themselves.
Okay, next one. Everyone has helped with all the information and advice, which has helped my collection blossom. Was that another one of your words, Bryan? Or
I probably screwed that one up. I didn't do this on purpose for to make it look bad. And finally, the last one that we'll share. So there's no tips or anything in this episode. This is just to just so everybody else can kind of see if you're. I was talking to Scott with the Parker Files the other day, and we were talking about he was asking about some of the struggles that I had mentioned, and collecting can be so self-isolating. We do these things ourselves, but I think it's why it's important to do it to have friends or fellow collectors and stuff that you can talk to about it, because otherwise it's very internalizing, and if you don't have that other outlet to share or to talk about your love of something, and that's why we have the podcast, it can kind of lead down like a dark path, and it could lead to maybe getting more things in your collection because you think it'll help make you feel better and stuff like that. I guess, Chris, that's not really something that we've ever talked about. Maybe that could be a future topic. We've always really focused on making sure that you have things in your collection that is for nostalgia, or it has a special meaning to you and stuff like that. Don't just collect to collect. Absolutely do not do that. But anyway, sorry for that quick aside. So the last one is, this is the most friendly and positive community I've been part of. I was mostly a lurker, but Cisco Scavengers has gotten me out of my shell a bit, and I've met some of the greatest people here too. And you're seeing a lot of the comments in the live chat as well. So thank you for letting us self-indulge here for a little bit. But really the purpose is just to show, and these are all comments from our community of what it means to them. So I thought it was important enough, Chris, TC, and Roy, that we shared this with everybody.
Yeah, it was really Really nice thing to go through, just to put some of our listeners and members words on the podcast. And we're just going to continue doing our thing, and you guys can just expect more more of the same. All right, what's this epic figure review we're talking about here, huh?
We got a Hulkbuster to talk about.
We got a Hulkbuster. Yeah.
Yes.
We've got a Hulkbuster. Thanks, Robert Downey Jr., for that iconic line. And this just, I don't have it. I've never seen it in person. Everything I've ever heard about this, I've seen from photographs, is this is just the pinnacle of hot toy collecting. Just... and TC, you're the one that has firsthand experience, and we're going to rely on you heavily for this. And we've got the photos and stuff to share. But because you're going to be doing a lot of the talking, I'll handle the stats about this one. So this is actually a 2.0. They technically is calling it a deluxe, so it's a different figure. If you had gotten the original one, you could get the deluxe accessories to add for far less. But this, obviously, from that iconic scene in Avengers: Age of Ultron, where Hulkbuster and Hulk go at it in that village and just wreck shop. This was MMS 510, retailing for 4 figures, $1,150. I think anybody that has it will say it's well worth it. This was originally announced October 19th, 2018, released April 14th, 2020. The original estimate was quarter 1 to quarter 2, 2020 from Hot Toys. And Sideshow had estimated it at May to August. So I know a lot of people are starting to get it. And guys, I'm just going to drool over the photos as we kind of scroll through here. But like I said, TC, I'll throw it to you first here. Man, can you get any better than this?
Not for action figures. No, you can't. And I guess before I even get into it, I would just, I don't push for people to say, oh, go get, definitely go get this figure. I might say it as like a recommendation just in general, say, oh, this is a strong figure, consider. But this is one I would definitely say, if you're on the fence, try and either sell some things if you need to pick it up, because it's not going to come around likely again in the next few years. I don't know Hot Toys' plans for the future. I mean, they could just vault it and then every few years re-release it, because it's so much work to put this together. But it is just quality, from the helmet down to the feet to the inside skeletal structure. I mean, the paintwork is phenomenal. The support system inside to make it be able to stand properly and not have any joint issues is phenomenal. Die-cast inside structure. It's really what Hot Toys, it's what they're best at, making Iron Man. Put this on steroids. It's Hot Toys at its finest. And if you have to sell 3-4 figures to do it, like I did, like I got rid of Obi-Wan Kenobi, New Hope, Luke Skywalker, New Hope, Scottie Pippen Enterbay figure, and what was the last one? It's eluding me, but there was one other figure that I sold to get it, because it came at a time when there were other things that were being released, and I just didn't have the grand to put down on it. But it's so worth it. This is their flagship product. They did not skimp, chintz, whatever it is, cheap out on anything. They gave you a lot for your money, and considering the original was like $850 or like $900, and the new one was $1,150. But you get the jackhammer arm, the interchangeable parts, and the Veronica. I think it's that additional price hike is completely justified. It's just it's a key piece from a key line of Hot Toys, from a key moment in Avengers: Age of Ultron, and I can't really say anything better about it. It's their best work. There's no crappy aspect about it. It's just excellence at every corner. So
it's their flagship.
Yeah, this is what they do, and it's not technically a die-cast figure, but the whole inside structure, like I said, is die-cast, so it's stable, and the articulations there, and the elbows, shoulders, knees. You can put in some cool poses. Mine just in a museum pose because I'm boring, and I don't do anything like Red Wolf, who's got pictures of the Hulk on top of the Hulkbuster and acting like it's ripping the Hulkbuster to shreds. I don't do anything fun like that. I don't have the space for it, and I don't have the skills either, so I just don't bother. But you can, and the fact that you can is a major plus. And you probably, I guess, a thing that I would recommend is get the 43 if you don't have it. If you're going to get the Hulkbuster, they just look cool when they're nearby each other. So anyway, I know Roy's getting it, so we'll wait to see.
Yeah, so Roy, before I kick it over to you here too, I can't believe I forgot to make mention at the top, but the cover art for this show and this episode was actually from Red Wolf, and he had given us the one for our Mark 7 episode as well. Just a fantastic photographer. So sorry, Red Wolf, I should have mentioned that earlier.
So this guy, a while back when this was announced, my plan was to order him, and I kind of shifted gears when I decided to jump into Star Wars and realized I might have to sacrifice going for the Hulkbuster if I'm going to juggle two franchises. So, man, it's not that I ever had this on pre-order, but it is one that it would be the focal point of a collection. It is, if your thing is 6 scale stuff, I mean, this is it. Somebody walks into the room and they're like, what is that? And just the fact that 43 fits inside, and then when you do the size comparisons to the Hulk, and it's just got a presence like no other figure. And I mean, it makes me want it, but I don't think I can swing it. So, I mean, I could sell some stuff to buy it, but that's not really my plan right now. But I mean, it's just awesome. I love watching the unboxing videos, all the blogger pictures on Instagram and everything. I mean, it's just like a grade A badass figure.
It looks like it's like the size of a toddler.
Yeah.
It's at least the size. Like I've got the Darth Vader standing on his stand, the quarter scale Vader, and so it's like 24 inches. The Hulkbuster's about a little over 2 feet, or right a little under 2 feet. So yeah, he's got some heft to him. But I guess I don't know. Like I've been talking to Sean from our group. Billy, sorry, I don't butcher your last name. Yahtzee. But Sean is a great
he's telling you to do it right now.
Yeah, he's telling you to do it. But I was telling him like the Hulkbuster is changing the way I kind of want to collect, because I appreciate the way Hot Toys puts so much effort into these pieces. Like you can't fake you can't. I don't know. You have to have love to do that. Like there has to be some actual desire to want to have greatness, with their craft. It's not just strictly for profits, because there are ways you can skimp out. You can kind of get around, making it as sound structurally, but still put out a product. Like they went back to the drawing board. If you remember the original release back in 2015, they halted everything. They delayed it like an extra. It didn't come out for like almost 3 years after the fact. Well over 2 years. There was a delay in that manufacturing process because they had to go back and fix something. They didn't want to release something subpar.
I think it was 30 months, TC. I think I remember
30 months. So yeah, 2.5 years. And it shows the desire to do something special with this release. And like I said, I don't regret what I did to get it at all. I just feel that this is one figure that I just needed in my Hot Toys collection.
Chris, I thought you get a kick out of Country Club's statement here.
I love it. This Hulkbuster is the G.I. Joe USS flag of our times. And for those that know the USS flag, I mean, G.I. Joes are 3 3/4 inch, and the USS flag was like 7 feet long. It was the biggest and most intense display, playset, and I can see that comparison 100%. Just because, yeah, I know, Sean, stop. But don't be surprised.
Hey, I'm getting that Black Widow. You should get this.
Yeah, that's
apples and apples to oranges.
Oh man, yeah, I might have to put some stuff on the selling block.
So Roy, obviously, again, I'm really not trying to do this, my friend. I'm not trying to rub salt in the wound of how long it takes you to get certain figures in Holland.
Oh man,
yeah, but does us talking about it, to see a lot of unboxing videos and stuff like that, does it make it any less special when you eventually will get this?
It takes away some of the edge of receiving it, of course, because TC has been talking about it for a while, and I've seen all the reviews, and I've watched all of them, of course. But this is going to be epic. This is just Hot Toys' love story towards anything Iron Man related, and I'm looking forward to it so much. I actually got the first edition of the 43. That was my first Iron Man figure, in anticipation of this figure, and it took so long, and I started to making some choices, and I sold my 43, and then immediately regretted it, of course. And then this was announced, the V2 version, and it just I was at a point in my collection where I got some of the Jazz Inc. stuff, the larger stuff, and I also got pre-ordered the huge Millennium Falcon cockpit, and I needed something from Marvel to offset it, because that cockpit is going to draw eyes immediately, and I share the same passion for Marvel, so I needed something. This is just an incredible figure, and I wanted it since it was released, announced the V1 version. So it was a difficult pre-order, because it's almost $1,500 here, but yeah, I have no regrets. I'm looking forward to it so much, and with the 43 and those pictures you see with him coming out of it, it's just this is just an eye catcher, as the Millennium Falcon cockpit will be.
Yeah, it's got some statue-esque properties about it. Like the size of the figure version foremost, but just the craftsmanship behind it, similar to what you would have to get in a statue. But there's one thing about the Hulkbuster that I didn't bring up is, we all know the cost here in the States, but for you, it is significantly more expensive. So I do get it. Why some people would not want to go for it.
Oh wow, it's incredible! And even if it were a statue, I would still pay the money for it. But this being an action figure, that's even more incredible. Something this big, and it's articulated, and not even that limited in articulation, and you can fold them up completely. Yes, incredible. That shows pure craftsmanship and pure love for the craft as well.
I think you'll still be amazed at it though when you get it. I know you said watching reviews does take away from the complete surprise, but it's hard to put it in a perspective of the actual magnitude of the figure until you get it in hand. The box is ginormous.
I can't wait for the postman to come up here 5 floors to.
I don't know how he's gonna carry it. Steven, I got it from Steven's Collectibles, and he didn't even ship it via the mail. He brought it to UPS, so I don't know if there was some limit on the box dimensions from the USPS. I don't know, but he shipped an alternative method than what he usually does. So,
do we know what the shipping cost is from Sideshow?
$1 million.
Sounds
I
about
do
right.
not know. I think it's
$1 million.
I don't know.
Probably $80, $100, something like that, or
yeah.
Well, I depending on like the weight and stuff, the only thing I can relate it to is like the weight of like a statue cost, and it can be anywhere from like 40 to 60 from Sideshow cross country, depending on box size. So I don't think it's like gonna run you a ton of money. I know like when I got my DeLorean, and I got that through eBay to go. I think the person I bought it from was in Colorado. I think shipping plus like insurance and stuff, I think it was like $100 or so. But that's probably not as heavy. I don't know. It's you got to factor the shipping cost in. You guys are absolutely right. So this is probably anticlimactic here, TC. We do have to ask you for a review. That's one thing that's not going away. We'll keep the 5-star rating system. Used to be a 4-star rating system until you came along and say, hey, let's make it like a 5-star recruit for football. So we're gonna keep it. And I don't know, guys, what do you think? I think we should rate it on the number of Veronicas.
Yeah, that's fine.
Gee,
That's just what I was going to say.
I wonder what it could be.
5.
5 Veronicas.
The big 5 Veronicas. It's 5 out of 5.
I would have been surprised if it was anything less.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying what anyone else doesn't already think about the figure. It's not like
Well, they don't.
like,
People don't come to us for the reviews. We just have fun with this.
Yeah, that's true.
One of our lighter-hearted segments.
That's right. Sean says 7 out of 5.
Yeah,
I agree.
easily.
Yeah. Blows a 5 out of the water.
Yeah, that's a new rating scale. I don't think we've ever mentioned that before.
We've never gone above. We were getting into percentage points, but going above.
that did make my OCD-ness a little off kilter. I think TC brought out like the 4.999 once or something, and my head started twitching a little. Man.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh,
What a show, guys.
Yeah.
I was reading through some of the comments, and I saw Mike out there say something like that was one of the better segments and stuff. And I mean, to do something for 2 years and to not change all that much. And I think one of the things I'm most proud of is the fact that others have wanted to come into the community. There's people like Roy and TC that, we kind of thought could bring more than they already were, and they were both more than willing to help us. And like, if I haven't said it before, I'll say it again. Like, we don't get paid anything to do this. We're doing this all for free. Our checklists and eBay sometimes help us offset the podcast hosting fees. That's again out of our pocket. We try to keep track of the expenses. We try to do giveaways. Like I mentioned at the very top, we want to see if we can track down some of the people that were joining in here live, that commented on the Facebook group, and get some. We don't have like a shore trooper to give away here, Elvis, but we have some other cool stuff, and it's just our way to say thank you. And it's been 50 episodes. I know people are asking for 50 more. I mean, who knows what the future is going to bring. We're going to keep doing this as long as we enjoy doing it, that we have this camaraderie between us on the admin team, within the group, that we're still having fun do it. If it ever feels like it's a job, then I think it's time that we hang it up. But I don't see that happening anytime soon.
No. Yeah, it's like we said before, we're just going to keep on rolling, and we'll figure out what the next figure review is going to be and what the next topic is, and hopefully, Hot Toys continues to drop those pre-orders and figure releases. There's a lot of figures out there for them still to make and release, and we love talking about that.
Yeah,
it's been a great show. Great 2 years for the group, and looking forward to what the future has in store.
Yeah, you're just doing an awesome job, guys. I can't stress it enough. It's still a joy to listen to the podcast, and it's just as joyful to visit the group every day and to talk to you in the offside chat as well, with a lot of changes and Justin Timberlake faces. But it really enriched my experience with this hobby, and I'm so grateful for it. Thank you.
No, it's great.
So
great.
many Justin Timberlakes. Not even funny.
How many will there be in between now and next episode?
Maybe a few.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe a few. So, all right, let's do our normal plugs, and we'll call it a show. Our website, sixscalescavengers.com, has those database and checklists that we mentioned. We use them to prepare for the show. We use them to hunt down old figures, see release dates and what the original retail cost of things are. We hope you find them useful, just like we do. We have our TeePublic store, 6scalescavengers.com. Jumping ahead here. Our TeePublic store, we have all the designs that Roy has done. I forgot to mention it. We did have a scavenger that is going to donate a few shirts from our store. So what we'll do is when we pick those winners, we'll track down and get those people's information, shirt sizes and stuff like that. And so thankful to our scavenger community that just gives back, that enjoys being part of it. So thank you. We have our Facebook page. We're on Instagram and Twitter, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, YouTube, Spotify, Stitcher, and 6scalescavengers.libsyn.com. If you want to throw that RSS feed and throw it in your podcast catcher of choice. And I have to say, Nick the Nerd had included that in his comment of that little catchphrase. I guess I just don't think of it as a catchphrase, but I guess it's a catchphrase. So just thanks again. And any closing thoughts here, guys?
I don't know. Somebody wants predictions on what the next announcement is going to be, but who knows at this point? Could be.
Yeah, we don't have any inside information.
Yeah.
Our guess is going to be as good as everybody else's. I'm going to say Wasp. I think they got to get the Wasp out there. Gamora, Qui-Gon.
Yeah, Cody. There's definitely that grouping of figures that has just keeps on getting delayed. That it could be any of those, or it could be Mark 85. Let's hope so.
For sure.
Yep. Great episode though, guys.
Yep.
Yeah. It's storming really badly here.
Yeah, we could hear.
Oh, yeah, I'm trying to mute the mic as best as I could.
So TC powers through even in a thunderstorm here, so
Yes.
we could use some rain in New Hampshire. We need some desperately.
Sounds like a thunderstorm upstairs with my kids running around.
All this early podcast time. It's Roy's at our normal time, and we're in the Saturday afternoon here. But I just
It's dark now, if you can tell.
I know.
yeah, I can see it now. So I think we had over 50 people tuning in live, and I'm sure a lot more will catch us afterwards on the replay and on the download. So thank you, Scavengers. Thanks for being part of our community. Thanks for indulging us, and look to many more. All right, Chris, bring us home, my friend.
Excelsior.